always a great delight having you on the program Flipside with yours sincerely, Oluije Oikokai. And today on Flipside, we'll be looking at International Day on the prevention of drowning. And to do that with us, I have two great men with me today in the studio. The person of Kelly Ogesoba. He is a swimming instructor. He specifically said professional swimming instructor. Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, and also Professor Raf Ehigato. I told him you will be introducing yourself today to our guest. So, Prof, I would like you to do the honors.
Okay, good evening, good afternoon, viewers at home. I'm an engineer, a professor, Raphael Ehigato Iwi, the current dean of Faculty of Environmental Sciences, University of Benin.
All right. Thank you so much for being part of us today. All right, looking at International Day on Prevention of Drowning. Now, drowning is a leading cause of accidental death every year. An estimated 236,000 people drown, making drowning a major public health problem worldwide. Now, drowning is one of the leading causes of deaths globally for children and young people aged 1 to 24 years. Drowning is the third leading cause of unintentional injury deaths, accounting for 7% of all injury-related deaths. The global burden of death from drowning is felt in all economics and region. Now, looking at narrowing it down to low and medium income countries account for over 90% of unintentional drowning deaths. Over half of the world drowning occurs in the Western Pacific region and Southeast Asia region. Now, drowning death rates are highest in the Western Pacific region and are 27 to 32 times higher than seen in the United Kingdom and other parts of our country, Nigeria. Now, in the course of this discussion, I will be giving you Nigerians' ranking as far as drowning is concerned. Being privileged to have a swimming instructor in our midst today, the person of Kelly, we want to ask first of, now some persons, they know the meaning of drowning, while some others, they don't. So we would like to, understand the meaning of drowning.
Okay, thank you again for having me. Drowning is an impairment of the respiratory system due to immersion or submersion in any liquid. And this could be very fatal sometimes. In a nutshell, that's what drowning is all about.
Okay. Now, if you said submerge in any kind of water, now we know that we have the swimming pool, we have also the one caused by flood. Now, someone that can actually swim, can a person survive flooding when it comes?
Oh, thank you for that question, a very important question. In fact, the theme for this year World Drowning Prevention Day is actually anyone can drown.
Yeah.
No one should. So no matter how good a swimmer you are, in certain circumstances, you could drown. I'm glad you mentioned flood. And we've had cases of drowning due to flood on several occasions in this part of the world. And I had mentioned some time ago on this same studio that in a drowning situation, let's picture some of our drainages in this country, open drainages, and the drainages are so huge. If you have a lot of flood, if you have noticed the current of this flood along the drainage system, you would understand how risky it could be. As a very good swimmer, it would take something extra for me to survive an accidental fall into these drains because of the current and the volume of water that goes through the drains when it rains.
Okay.
And as a matter of fact, I remember an incident that happened many years ago where a child that was returning from school accidentally fell into a drain in this state, in this country. And immediately I saw the news on TV. I told somebody that was with me that that child will never be found. And yes, the child was never found. So in a flood situation, it's risky. Even as a good swimmer, you may drown because of the volume of water and the current that goes on the drain. And don't also forget that there are debris, there are stuff, there are stones inside the drainage. And when you fall into it accidentally, you can't control yourself. So you could get knocked off and you are disoriented, and in a short period of time, you literally pass out. And even if you are very skilled, you may not be able to have that energy to do whatever you need to do to get yourself out of that situation.
Okay, now to Professor Ralph. Thank God we have an engineer and a surveyor in our midst. What actually causes flooding? Now, we know in between swimming and maybe going to the riverine areas, we know also that people drown through the course of flooding. Now, as a surveyor, what causes flooding?
Yeah, we have discussed this separately here. Flooding causes a bit of heavy rain. And we attribute this one to the climate change in recent past. So, or discharge of dam from the upstream to the downstream, it could cause flooding. And our drain, for example, as you just said, there are debris everywhere, and they are not true. And because of that, where they are discharging to, from upstream to downstream, there will be debris between them, and as a result, there will be flooding everywhere. And the flooding increase because of as rain continue on everyday basis is going up. And most river can overflow its bank. That what happened last year. Port Harcourt Road in everywhere, in Kogi State, all this. So those are those states, heavy rain and the overflow of water bank that the causes of flooding. As far to how so many people die because of flooding. It's not flooding because, as I said, no matter how expert, because you're not prepared, because there are factors that affect somebody to drown. One, if you're a good swimmer, you might be drown inside water, or even in the flood. If you can swim very well, but you have obstacle.
And coming unexpectedly.
Yes. And that means that even if you can swim, like I work in Shell for 10 years. So we train that whenever you enter overboard water, you must wear life vest. Because life vest, what you do is that if you fall inside water accidentally, you won't dip, it will float you. But you need a little bit of skill to be able to maneuver and move out of the water. The other thing is alcoholic. When you are drunk, you are a good swimmer, you can't swim. So those are the things.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Now, as a swimming instructor, now he talked about life vest. We have had cases and incidents of people going on a speedboat for one of the cruises and all of that, and you find them accidentally getting drowned, and they will ask a question: were they on their lifeguard and all of that? The who suited up, and the question will be yes, they were. So why do they still get involved in, aftermath, they die, and maybe in the course of not being able to swim and all of that, in as much as the lifeguard is on?
Okay, thank you for that question. You asked a question and you attempted to answer the question. If you're wearing a life jacket and there's an incident and people still drown, why it happens? But I think I've seen, in most cases, in most incidents that I've seen, they don't wear life jacket. Okay. That's what I've seen a picture of a teacher who was taking the pupils for an excursion on the water body in a canoe or a speedboat. She was the only one wearing a life jacket. Wow. And when an incident happened, what do you expect? When the boat capsizes, what happens? Recently, there was a fishing vessel that capsized between Greece and Italy. 600 occupants of that fishing vessel got drowned because the vessel capsized. There was no life jacket. And so, however, wearing a life jacket is not a guarantee that you would stay alive in situations like that.
Why is that so?
The question is, when will help come? What kind of natural body? Is it at the sea? You're wearing a life jacket. There's one thing about wearing a life jacket.
Yeah.
It only keeps you safe for a period of time. That's one. And secondly, when you are so tensed, it therefore means that you struggle and struggle. The more you struggle, the more you tend to go down. And the life jacket may not be able to sustain you. And again, there are basic skills that most of us do not understand. A vessel capsizes. What happens next? Instinctively, we want to struggle away from the vessel because we think that that vessel is a source that will take our lives, and we struggle. And so how long can these people struggle? How long can you sustain life when you are wearing a device that may actually pull off at any time? How many hours do you need to stay afloat before help will come? So these are other factors that may make it. What is the current? What is the level of current that flows on the water body? There's a probability that it may just float everybody to an area where they become even more helpless. So it's a number of other factors that count.
Okay. Now, being a swimming instructor, we know that you find some children, catch them young, and as low as 5 years, 4 years. So when is the appropriate time for one to start learning how to swim? Like, Prof, I'd like to ask you now, do you know how to swim?
Yes.
At what age did you start learning how to swim?
When I was working for Shell.
Well, at what age was that?
After I graduated from university.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to just finish on something.
Okay.
I don't quite agree with my friend.
As regards the life jacket?
Yes.
Okay.
I used it for 10 good years. There are about 3 or 4 types of life jacket. There's one that has 2 here,
one at the back, yes.
That one will never fail you.
It will never what?
Never fail you.
Okay.
It will keep you afloat until you get help.
Wow.
That is why I said, when we're in Shell, you must learn how to swim. Because when you fall inside water, not a river, I can swim river, that's a problem. Like I can swim. But when it is a sea, we're going to sea. Yeah. That's when you have challenge. It will keep you as long as you get help. There's another one that when you fall inside water, it automatically open the explode. Yeah. But most of the time that one fail. So if you are wearing that one, if you are in the plane, let's say wear it, that vest inside the other seat. Yeah. When it touches water, normally it will explode and you stay afloat. But that one failed often. We've tested it. Okay. So that one, if this one I'm talking, I have 1, 2 here, one. If you fall inside water, you stay vertically. You won't go inside water. You just remain like this. Okay. But the other one there's another one that has 2 here and 1 here. If you fall, if you fall inside water, it will face up like this. Okay. You'll be there. Okay. But if you can now, like somebody sitting down on top of water, if you cannot manipulate yourself, you can be swimming towards the current. But if it's the sea, like just a vessel, it's difficult. In the case of tension. Yes, it's difficult. No. If I said if you can swim, you have been trained. We're trained. It's a trainer.
Now, in the case of when someone is tensed, and all of a sudden you're seeing your boat capsize and you're wearing the particular vest you are talking about. Can that person stay alive?
Yes. You will not. The thing is that because you see, me, I'm talking from a practical point of view. Yeah. But I was a user. When if you are using this flying boat, they what they call dead man's key. Dead man's key is a key that the captain will attach to his take around his waist and hook to the engine. Okay. If there's capsize, that dead man's key will automatically switch off the engine. Okay. So people are forward, but if you don't switch, that engine will destroy, will kill all of them. So if they don't fall inside water, the aging go off, if you are wearing life vest, you are going to be safe. Several times I've seen boat capsize. Our workers, they don't have, everybody just go. You understand? But so many things can lead to capsize. We don't want to discuss that. But if you are wearing life vest, wearing it properly, it's going to save you.
Okay.
I've seen it, I've experimented. I'm talking from point of view, not
that's wearing the proper life vest.
Yes. But the one that is not very bad, that captains, that's what they wear.
Okay.
They don't have but they can swim very well. Sometimes you might not be that lucky.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. We go to the question. At what age is better? You started earlier, but it was difficult for me to learn at an older age because I have the option of either losing my job or learning how to swim. Okay. But I've taken the risk then. When I was in university, working with seismic, I don't know how to swim. I was going to water every day, but I know that I was taking a very dangerous risk. But my friend there told me that because you are life that you have issue. Sometimes we'll see creek that is about 10 meters wide. Boat cannot pass. You just enter and just do like this. It will take you, I'll just float you. How it works. Okay. Yes.
Okay. Now I know Mr. Kelly has something to say.
Yes, thank you. Prof expressed a view that's very important. Again, but I think he further explained exactly what I said. There are several factors. You mentioned that some life jackets can fail, and that's a factor. And I do not think there's any piece of personal protective equipment that is 100% guaranteed. It can fail at any time. And Prof may want to, Prof understands BOSET. I train BOSET, I train HOET.
Okay, yes.
Helicopter, yes. Underwater training.
I've done that. I've done that training. I want to swim, I want to have certificate.
Okay, I do those training for NNPC and the rest. What is important is that he mentioned the types. The type is important. There are some that will fail. But again, there are several other factors. Let me just point out one. I was in a swimming pool one day. There was a guy who could swim. I do swimming training using that swimming pool. There was this day I came to swim, and there were some secondary school students in the pool. There was this guy that could swim very well. However, he was also using the floater, the tube, on the deep side. It started raining. I came out of the swimming pool to change. He could swim. He had the floater. So the lifeguard on duty asked all of them to go out. He's an adult. He could swim. He's using a floater, so he felt he was okay. He was secured. So he remained on the deep side. After some time, I had gone to change. As I was coming back, the lifeguard was walking in front of me. And he got to the swimming pool to remove some chairs because the rain was so heavy that it blew some chairs into the water. He was removing the chairs and noticed that that particular guy was down at the bottom of the swimming pool. He rushed back and tapped me and said, that guy is inside. He had to quickly take off his shirt. He went into the swimming pool, brought out the guy, had to help him. It was CPRO that saved him. I had to conduct the CPR. While the lifeguard was trying to press his stomach, I had to stop him because that's another issue, because he's not trained. So I had to do CPR to resuscitate this guy. I followed him to the hospital. What am I trying to say? Investigation, I later realized that what happened was that hypothermia set in. He could swim. He was using a life.
The floater.
The floater. But it got to a time that he became cold. And when you are cold, what happens is that you can literally begin to fidget and you lose consciousness. And that is exactly what happened. He lost consciousness, went under the water and drowned. And so this is a swimming pool. So what if this happens in the sea? You said someone is using a life jacket. When will help come? Help may come in the next 24 hours. Help may come in the next 48 hours. So when will help come? What if hypothermia sets in? What happens to the people? So that's the fact. So let me just chip in the age at which children should learn how to swim. The benchmark is about 4. But minimum, you could at that particular age anyway. But children develop in different speed. There are some children, 3, they are as big as 5. And so if the child has learned how to do the movement,
Basic things.
coordinate the movement of the legs and the hands, then the child could just do what we call water orientation. You could just simply be submerging and bringing the child out, submerging and bringing it. And that's a good place to start from.
Okay, now you talked about the CPRO and all of that. I wanted to ask that question much more later, but let's just get right into it now. When drowning occurs, when someone drowns, what is the first thing you should, attend? What's the first thing that should happen to that person after bringing the person out of either the river or the swimming pool?
Okay, the first thing to do, okay, there's a general belief that someone who drowns must have taken a lot of water into the system. And so the natural instinct is to press the tummy so that the water will come out. But if this casualty has drowned and what we call cardiac arrest has happened, which means that the heart is no longer beating, what is critical at this point is not to remove the water from the system, is to get the heart to start beating again. And that's where CPRO comes in. So the water in the system is secondary. That would take care of itself if you do what is right. So CPRO is what is needed. And how do you do CPRO? Let me just run through. CPRO is something we do to get the heart to start beating again. And it's a combination of 30 chest compression and 2 rescue breaths. We understand that oxygen is very important for the body. And so at this point, the heart, which is the pumping organ, has stopped. So we want to compress. In other words, we want to artificially assist the heart to perform its normal responsibility. So as we do that, the blood is circulated to the brain. The brain actually begins to die between 4 to 6 minutes after a cardiac arrest has happened. So we don't want it to get to 10 minutes because if it gets to 10 minutes, there's practically nothing you can do. The brain must have died completely. So you want to do CPRO, you want to get the heart to start working again. So you do the chest compression, 30 chest compression, you open the airway, then 2 rescue breaths. You come back again. That's one circle. You come back again.
When you say the airway, through the mouth, or
no, you just teeth. We call it head, teeth, chin lift. You put your hand here and your 2 fingers here. Lift. This is to ensure that there's a free passage of air because air at this point, oxygen at this point is key. You open and you do the rescue breath. You come back and do the 30 chest compression, open airway, 2 rescue breath. This is what you do. And on this particular life instance, I was not willing to do the rescue breath. There's something we call compression only CPR. If you do the compression only and you do it well, you get results. So I was not willing. I don't know this guy. I don't know what he has taken. To prevent transmission of disease and all that, even though there are ways to go about it. I was just doing the compression only because I know it works. And it actually worked. I suddenly realized that the guy was just jerking. When I was sure that I was breathing, I placed him in what we call recovery position. Meanwhile, before this time, I had called for help. So some guys came, a vehicle came, and we were ready. We lifted him into the vehicle and ensured that he was lying in such a way that whatever liquid he had taken would go out naturally. And I followed to the hospital, and he made it.
Okay. All right. Now, Prof, we want to know, we know a lot of families, they want the comfort of their homes, get a swimming pool and some basic amenities anyways. As a surveyor now, is there a proper way to get the swimming pool in one's home that can be far away from the kids? Now, we know of many instances where we find children drowning in their own swimming pool in a home or even in the bathtub, but that will be for the swimming instructor. So now, where can the swimming pool be positioned in one's home?
For me, as an engineer, I will not advise anybody to have a swimming pool in his home, except if you have stopped giving birth to children. Because these children, you cannot just monitor them.
You said except if you have stopped giving birth to children.
Yes.
I don't understand that part.
Well, geez, you cannot wait. There was, one of my friends back to his home. When I, some years back, I went with him. He asked this thing, what do you call it, this, where they go to fetch water.
Okay.
Where they were building, where this was constructed.
Yeah, yeah.
So, the mother of this boy went outside to spread something, just packed in. So I was outside sitting at the balcony. I saw the little boy walking to that place. I shouted at his name. I called him. He turned back. He was almost very close to the entrance. And that will be the end. So, for me, I will never advise anybody.
Okay, so you're kicking against it.
I don't, just my, I don't like it. If you want to do swimming pool, there, go to hotels, go to public place, as I just said, this is a trend. Then when I was in Warri, I was going to NPC to swim. You know NPC in Warri.
Okay, I think we should, you know.
I don't like the idea.
Okay.
But when you're 20 are grown up, you know what they do. You can decide to have it if you so wish. Well, I don't go to do Olympic. It's just beautification.
Yeah.
So for me,
okay,
I don't advise it.
Okay. All right, if you just join us, this is Flipside, and we're looking at World Drowning Prevention Day. We know some of our celebrities that their children have actually gone to the world beyond because of this drowning incident, and so many others that we don't even know about. When we started the show, I did tell you we will be giving you the rank of Nigeria as regards drowning internationally. So we'll be doing all of that. And also for our swimming instructor, you know, everyone wants to say they are professionals in their different establishments or different endeavors. Now, we want to know who is a core swimming instructor. Who would you say, yes, this person is a swimming instructor? What are those things the person ought to have? What are those things the person ought to know? So when we come back after this short break, we'll be giving you more insight on International Day on the Prevention of Drowning. Don't go nowhere. Welcome back, and if you just joined us, this is Flipside with yours sincerely, Oloije Oikohai. We have the privilege to have a swimming instructor and a lifeguard. Yes, I got that. Yeah, yeah, the president of Mr. Kelly and also Prof. Raf with us in the studio. Now, I did say I'll be letting you in on the ranking as far as Nigeria is concerned. Now, according to the latest WHO data published in 2020, drownings deaths in Nigeria reached 6,584. Yes. 6,584, or 0.44% of total deaths. Now, the age-adjusted death rate is 2.17%, 100,000 of population ranked, and Nigeria ranked 107 in the world. Now, Prof. Raf, are we doing well with that ranking? 107.
Drowning, you see, the case of drowning is becoming rapid in Nigeria, and it's increasing. Some are deliberate, but those who commit suicide, they jump inside water. All these things are accounted for.
Sure.
And what happened recently at Kwara State, I don't know. Yes, this one. So it's increasing. Some are actually deliberate.
Yeah.
The reason is that when you know that the capacity of your boat, you overload it, what's going to happen? You go to capside and keep people. And those local boats they are using, they don't have life vests. So eventually, no life will be saved. So we are not doing well. It should not be this. Because apart from the Niger Delta area, we don't have, even in the Niger Delta area, drowning is not as frequent as it is compared to the upper side.
Because they are taught how to swim at the young age. At the tender age, yeah.
They can swim very well. They can swim very well. So I don't expect it to be this high. Because 6,594 is huge. We are almost
and being ranked 107 in the world.
Yes, no, it's easy because we should be less. That's my view. Because life that are gone here, it's not. So many people died because of drowning.
So Prof, will you say swimming is important in our existence?
Swimming is very, very important. If you travel overseas, you hardly see people cannot swim. But they go to swimming, they don't learn how to swim as part of their
recreational activities.
Yeah, but here, we're not privileged to do that.
We're always walking.
We're always walking. Apart from the man, this is the first time I'm seeing
a swimming instructor
in Benin City.
Yes, and a lifeguard.
Yeah, a lifeguard. So,
yes, lifeguard.
So maybe we'll be friends. As we live here. Thank you, sir. Because it's not they're not easy to find. Places that worry, Port Harcourt, where you have oil and gas activities, and by virtue of it's not even oil company that mandate swimming.
Okay.
It's only Shell. Shell must. I did swimming test for Shell 3 years. I do it on the water swimming.
Escape training.
Yes, I did it all.
Okay.
So I have they have all expired now. I did swimming test about 3 years ago. I had a job for assistant professor at University of Benin. So I went to Port Harcourt for the swimming. Okay. The man said, Prof, can you swim? I said, let me try. So we're about...
So you could swim?
Yes, we're about 50 that came for, about 20 that came for swimming team test. He called me out and said, enter water. So I entered, I swam. So I jump inside the deeper side. I entered. I suspended myself. Yeah. You guys say, Prof, come out. You can swim. So it's very important to learn how to swim because I've seen, when I was in Warri, there was a smart guy. If you know Udu, that river.
Udu River.
The vehicle plunged inside the water. So as I was going, the guy opened the door and jumped out inside the water. The driver opened the door, jumped inside the water, and continued. So he was courageous. If he had not that training of swimming, so nobody. So swimming is important, and we should try to learn as possible. You don't know when it happens. I understand recently that some people died inside water.
Oh, very river. Yeah.
They were trapped. Maybe they can't open the door. They don't have knowledge of swimming. And that fear, as he has said, you can't control yourself. So those are the swimming is very key.
Okay. All right. So our life guide and swimming instructor, one will want to know, how can one tell who is a professional swimming instructor? What are those things we should look out for?
Okay, thank you. Before I answer your question directly, let me mention, talking about the statistics, I think it's important to know that we are the poorest in Africa. That figure 6,583 deaths per year, which was actually released in 2020. Is the poorest in Africa. So it's important we know, so that we know how well we are doing, if we are doing anything at all. South Africa is about 1,000, a little above 1,400. Okay. So the difference is much.
Yes.
Okay. Earlier, Prof said he would not advise anybody to have a swimming pool in the house.
Yeah.
The reason domestic swimming pool poses a lot of risk is because we don't implement World Health recommendations. All domestic swimming pools should be barricaded, should be fenced. There's what we call a child-proof fencing. There are materials to use, there are dimensions, there are recommendations, these specific designs such that a child will not be able to climb through. So if this is in place, it reduces the risk to its barest minimum. There are road traffic accidents every day, but we don't advise people not to enter.
Not to go on journeys.
So there are specifications. You go online, you get a World Health Organization recommendation as to the safety precautions to take as it relates to the design of the swimming pool. Even our public swimming pool, it will interest you to know that the public, according to World Health Organization recommendation, every public swimming pool has to be fenced. But you and I know that
we don't do that.
We don't comply with that.
Yes.
You go to a public swimming pool, it's not fenced, and to make things worse, there's a beer parlor
by the side.
So the lifeguard who is, I can assure you, is not trained, closes by 6, while the bar is still open. And so people come, they take alcohol till up to 9, 10 in the night.
And anything can actually happen.
And the swimming pool is not fenced, it's open. And so anything can happen, people can start fighting, one can push another into the swimming pool, and the lifeguard is not around. And so there are quite a number of issues. Now to your question.
No, before my question. Now, would you say there should be a body set up to monitor swimming pools nationwide?
Definitely.
Because according to what you just said now, visiting most swimming pools in our country, Nigeria, you don't see them being barricaded.
Yes, no, that's correct.
See, being barricaded is just one out of a number of issues that the World Health Organization has addressed in their resolution. The training, the capacity of the lifeguard on duty is another thing entirely. That's very, very serious. And so many countries are beginning to key into this recommendation by WHO. But I don't know what we are doing in this country. Drowning, as a matter of fact, is a public health issue. And if I say it's a public health issue, you already know the ministry, the government agency that has the responsibility to ensure that these resolutions are not just adopted, but are implemented. So they go and do, don't take my word for it. Go around the swimming pools and see. Anybody can Google up the recommendation of the WHO and see if the resolutions are being followed. You can see how far we are from the recommendation. I can tell you authoritatively that most of the swimming pools we have in this state, the people that pose as lifeguards, they don't know anything. The only reason they are lifeguards is because they can't swim. That's the only thing. They don't have even basic training on first aid, CPRO, rescue tech, nothing. They just pose as lifeguard. And these are the people that you leave your children with. And so what happens at the end of the day? So of course, there's a government agency that should be responsible, going from this public swimming pools to the other, to ensure that they comply with this resolution, which ought to be spelled out in the first place. So it's a serious issue. Now to the question. About 10 years ago when I started this journey, I went to the Red Cross. I'm a member of the Nigerian Red Cross. I'd done my research and I realized that for you to become a swimming instructor and a lifeguard, you need to go through a training in the Nigerian Red Cross. And I approached the Nigerian Red Cross, Edo State branch, and I was told that this thing you want, we have not done it before. You understand what that means? It means that nobody has gone through that process before. And so we had to, at source, we have to look for several ways to ensure that we meet our target. And I can give you some data. There's no way you talk about being a professional in this state, and I'm not aware. And so if you want me to give you a number, you will be shocked if there's any number at all to give, talking about being a professional lifeguard and swimming instructor. It's a serious issue. So the government and all stakeholders have to look into what is going on in our public swimming pool. In every hotel where you have a public swimming pool, the swimming pool department is a cash cow. And so they don't want, the government has to do something. The government has to do something.
Okay. All right. Some persons, they tend to see when they get to the swimming pool, they see the floater, and some other things. So what are the things that ought to be in a standard swimming pool?
Okay. The floater is one.
Yeah.
The tube, there are different types. But what is important is that you can wear it and it keeps you afloat. There's what we call the life buoy. It's round.
Like a football, like a ball.
Yes, it's round and you can actually use for rescue and all that. Those are the things. There's what we call reaching pole. You have a pole by the pool side. Anybody who understands basic rescue. Now again, let me digress a little. One of the recommendations by the World Health Organization is educating our school children on basic rescue, especially when it has to do with drowning and administering first aid and CPR. And so there's what we call the reaching pole, that anybody who understands how to rescue somebody can stretch. Anybody can do this. If the lifeguard is not watching, you stretch the pole to someone who is drowning and you pull the person. Something as simple as stretching your leg at a time, stretched my leg just to pull somebody out of the swimming pool. And so these are some of the things that are needed. Of course, the first aid box has to be there in case of an emergency. But how many swimming pools would you have a first aid box and having a lifeguard who can actually administer first aid and CPR?
Okay. All right. So, Prof. Raf, as an educator, what are the ways that you feel government can check this menace in our society as regards drowning to different private swimming pools in our country, Nigeria, looking at Edo State?
Yeah, you see, as I just said, I think each one of these hotels that has swimming pool, they should have a trainer that will be there to ensure that to save life if there's any need for such.
Yeah. And
if you are going for swimming, as I just said, swimming is something that you have to learn. You have to be taught. Just like somebody want to be a driver, you have to go to driving school and learn how to. So the engagement of instructor, as you just said, is key because swimming cannot be done self-alone. You need to be taught the various movement, the various style of. So you can be taught and to be guided until you become an expert. So in 2 weeks you can learn how to swim. And if you go there every day, you can learn how to swim.
Then looking at the barricading, what can government do to make sure that action is taken?
Yeah, if there is a law that is admitted, the government should be ready to enforce the law, because it's very hard for you to swim a swimming pool in Benin that's barricaded. So that is why I was saying that I don't want to encourage at home. Even if there's a barricade, you keep to that the issue of what about closing it after use. So of course we forget.
True.
Students can run into it and that ends it. The video we were talking about, I don't know what happened, but if you investigate, something must have happened that led to the death of that child. So government should enforce the needful, do the needful, by ensuring that the laws that guides the creation of a swimming pool are followed. It is easy for, as I just said, easy for somebody to rescue somebody inside a swimming pool. What a river. It's not possible, because by the time it is drowned, the place is gone. Like this Koba River, the flow rate is very, very high.
Wow.
This Koba River is very, very high. So once somebody drop, it's gone. So those are the things. Rescue is good, but sometimes it's very difficult.
Okay.
Rescue somebody's out of water is very difficult. Okay. But you might even drown with the person, because when the person sees you, he will grab you. You go down with the person.
Okay.
So government should do by enforcing necessary law, if there's any. Because I don't think attention can be paid to this drowning issue seriously in Nigeria. The way our government do the way we do something is, if that like this road issue now, this bad road, if that road has not killed somebody that is very close to them, dead to them, they don't care. So if drowning have not happened to somebody very dear to the government, they don't care about it. They don't put caution in place to ensure that it will happen again. So this is the kind of government we have in Nigeria.
Okay, I believe governments and parastatals are doing their best to make sure that the citizenry are better, and every day of their life they tend to see that things going well for for the citizens. And black man, they are always of the notion of walking and walking and walking. And when you tell someone, okay, let's go for recreational activity, let's go swimming, you find some persons, okay, don't worry, I will go. And funny enough, it's part of those things that one can actually do to make one relaxed and all of that. I know a swimming instructor can actually attest to that fact as part of the importance of swimming.
It's very recreational. Like we don't have, I used to say, we don't have anywhere to go in Benin here to run and relax. We don't have. When you go to overseas, you see city centers. Especially this summer now, you see them enjoying themselves. We don't have anywhere to relax. From work home, from work to home.
I think that has to do with individuals.
No, they don't.
When you talk about relaxation,
there's no relaxation place in Benin. There's no relaxation place.
Anyway, apart from that, or away from that right now, we find some persons when you go to swim, now to our swimming instructor, they'll say, no, don't drink the water. So what's inside the water that you find either the swimming instructor or the lifeguard saying, don't drink the water?
And don't urinate inside the water.
And don't urinate inside the water.
Okay. Don't drink the water. It's simple. There are contaminants inside the water. He mentioned don't urinate. If you drink water that's contaminated, so you can tell what would happen. It's a health hazard. So that's simply why you should not drink the water. I'm not sure anybody would intentionally want to drink.
No, for kids.
No.
For kids.
Another thing
for
is that
kids.
This water, I don't know how the water we use in Shell is chlorinated water. There's addition of chlorine. So you don't need to drink it. If you see the water, it's like blue color. Yeah. So you don't drink. They will tell you it's chlorinated water. And after use, the next day it's very difficult to. It's very expensive to maintain what call it swimming pool. The next day they will pump it away and refill. So as a refilling, the water is diluted with chlorine, so you don't need to take it.
Okay, so in a nutshell, we're saying that the water in a swimming pool is hazardous to the human system.
If it's contaminated.
Okay, if it's contaminated.
It's not the chlorine that contaminates the water. Even your so-called pure water, your sachet water, they add chlorine to purify it. So that's part of it. Again, that's just one of the rules that a lifeguard would have to implement. There are several rules that a lifeguard would have to implement while on duty. But I've always emphasized that the capacity of this lifeguard is one thing that the government has to do something about. For instance, there was a day I was in a swimming pool. Okay, I didn't go to swimming pool. It was a place I used for training at a time. 2 students died in the pool the same day. They were classmates. They came to the swimming pool to swim, to have fun. And 2 of them died. And at the point they drowned, the lifeguard was not around the swimming pool premises. He was not the one that brought the casualties out of the swimming pool. In fact, somebody had to go and call him to come and see that somebody has drowned. So 2 friends, classmates, they carried them, no CPR done. So they just carried them, put them in the vehicle, and to the hospital. And they got to the hospital and they were confirmed dead. So what is important? What's their training? Did they get a certification on first aid and CPR? These things are important.
Okay. All right. So, Paul, quickly, your last words to parents and governments out there.
For me, I always advise my words. For example, I'm not going to swimming pool. Except I'm there with them. I'm not going to swim. I don't.
Except if there is a professional there.
Yes, as I said just now, I'm seeing the first professional in Benin City. So that means I won't write my words to go to any swimming pool in Benin. Because I know that they're not professional. But if I see a professional like him, I can hand over my son to him, my children to say, look, go and take over, go and train them and do that.
Okay.
Two, because I can swim, so I can be there with them, and anything happen, I can at least rescue.
Okay.
So parents should always guide our words when we are good to swim, because just a few seconds, it's gone. So we must hand over our children to a professional who knows what the rules of the game, not anyhow person. That's what he just said now. You are your duty post, to be there. Maybe we somewhere drinking beer. So, and when month end, expect to be paid salary. And that incident you gave now, it may cost people for not going to that inside that water anymore. So, you know, I had that two kids die here last week. And it will give a negative perception to the hotel or to the swimming pool.
Okay. Yeah. All right, to our swimming instructor, Mr. Kelly. So what's your last words for people out there? And quickly now, is there an association?
For now, no association that I know of.
Okay.
And there cannot be an association that I do not know of.
Okay.
So for now, no association.
All right, so your last words for parents and everyone.
Okay, I think I would prefer to talk to the government and the government agencies, because if we're ever going to achieve anything, the government and its agency have to be up and doing. If the government does not step up its game, then these operators of public swimming pools will not do the right thing. We are blacks, and there's something about us. Not until we are pushed, we don't do the right thing. So the government would have to look at this WHO recommendation, adopt same, and ensure that they are implemented. It is from there we'll now begin to talk to parents, to encourage parents to take their children to the swimming pool to learn how to swim, and for basic water safety and all that.
Yes.
We can't encourage parents to do that when there's no guarantee that there's a safe place, there's a safe swimming instructor or a lifeguard to attend to them. So it's a critical issue.
All right, it has been an exciting time hanging out with you today on Flipside with yours sincerely, Oloije Oihoha. We have been dwelling on drowning, how it can be prevented, and for sure, parents out there, we all need to take caution. Yes, know where your kids are at every given time. Be their watchdog. Yes, they never asked for them to be brought into existence. You prayed for them, you asked for them, and there they are with you. So please do well to guide them properly. And to our swimming instructor, thank you so much for coming. God bless you. Professor Raf, congratulations, sir. Thank you so much for coming. To have a see you again next week for another exciting time. Do have yourself a blessed day. Bye for now.